I'm very delighted to be here and to have the opportunity to talk to you and tell you a little bit about what we think in Hamburg is necessary for our port. I mean, our port is quite similar to the port of Halifax, actually, because we are right in the middle of a city and we have every kind of cargo which has to be handled in the port. And although we are slightly bigger, it's the same topic, it's the same thing what we are talking about, and it's so important that ports are talking to each other. We are doing that, and it's so important because we learn from each other. So I've learned a lot today already from our colleagues here, and I would just try to give you a slight glimpse of what we are doing in Hamburg and what we are trying to implement. And Karen knows it's a huge project. A port is with a lot of stakeholders, and just to give you an idea, the Port of Hamburg is just right in the middle of the center of Hamburg. It's even in the legal district of city center, and the city of Hamburg is just around the port. We have a river navigation into our port, which is 100 kilometers to the open sea. That's one of our challenges. As we are one of the big European hub ports, we also have to deal with the big ships, with all the nice ships from CMA as well. And you can imagine being a port 100 kilometers in the land to receive a ship of 400 meters and up to 60 meters width, and don't talk about depth. It's a challenge. So just to give you an idea, that's how the port looks like. We had all kinds of terminals. The red ones are the container ones. We handle about 9 to 10 million TEUs in the port of Hamburg. These are all the other terminals like liquid cargo and bulk cargo and whatever you have it, big lift cargo and so on. That's just a picture. And I would like to give you an idea what we are thinking about. We have, as my colleague Jens Meyer told you last year already, we have this project of smart port implemented in the Port of Hamburg, and we have different parts of the smart port project, which is on one hand the smart port energy side, and on the other hand smart port logistics side. There are other things, but I just want to give you a light idea about what this is for us. Smart port, of course, everybody is talking about smart ports and implementing digital solutions. We have done it already since 2008, so we are on a way and we have already reached a couple of things, and I would like to give you some examples about that. The idea in Hamburg is, and that's of course different in each and every port. So each and every port has his own idea and his own a story about what is happening and how the forecast is for the future. If you look into the figures, we had in 2000, we had 85 million tons to handle in 2000, and in 2015, nearly 140 million tons. So that already was a challenge. And if you believe the forecasts, it's going to grow again. We will see how this is going to continue, but all the forecasts are forecasting for us a growth. We have to deal with the larger ships, larger vessels, which I've already told you. It's a huge challenge. And of course, what is coming with more cargo and more vessels, increasing traffic, limited parking access, increased environmental awareness. So how to deal with that? We have thought we have to implement piece by piece. So first of all, in order to have a digital port at the end of the day, you need to implement all the hardware. I mean, simple things like you've heard from Jim, in increasing bridge capacities, or just implement sensor technical things in the port to get all the information what you need. And that is related, of course, to road traffic and, of course, to ocean transportation, to the vessel topics, and, of course, in Hamburg, the rail traffic. Hamburg is Europe's biggest rail port, and we're handling 1,800 trains a week. That's a lot, and that's challenging the port in a very big way. On the other hand, we have to deal with the environmental challenges. The terminals, for example, private operators in the port, they have to deal with all these things as well. They have to implement new digital ideas in their handling of the terminal, and of course, I can tell you, dealing with the big ships, you have to replace all the cranes, and they are very expensive, of course, and even it goes with that a new crane is mostly not fitting on the berth or on the quayside, so you have to renew the quayside as well. So it's a lot of money involved in that, yes. Public authorities is also one thing we have to deal with. A little glimpse on the smart port energy. We are trying in Hamburg to put all the stakeholders together in the port. And when we started to start this project, it was very interesting who is producing hot water, for example. We have industry in the port, and industry is producing hot water. And how can we utilize all these things within the port? We have installed, of course, the windmills in the port, and we are trying to put all these things together in order to have a full picture of a very good idea of a smart port energy. Yeah, we were looking to improve energy efficiency. The innovative transportation planning, for example, is one thing which is a big thing in Hamburg. We're trying to avoid transportation. So that's a lot about information, of course. We have tried to link together all the empty container depots within the port, for example, so that the empty containers are not being transported within the port without any reason. That's something which sounds maybe a small thing, but it's very effective and very successful in Hamburg. Some examples from what we have done with power supply. We have on our cruise ship terminals, we have installed onshore power supply, and on top of that we have the first floating liquid gas power plant. It's an LNG hybrid barge in Hamburg, so you can produce with this barge energy with LNG, and you can place the barge wherever you need it and supply the vessels with energy. Now we have to convince all the cruise ship lines, of course, to be able to receive this energy. Wind turbines, I've already told about that. That's again very challenging in the port because you have a lot of things going on in the port, and but we're trying to put the windmills wherever it's possible. Solar energy plants is a natural thing for a port. You have a lot of sheds and buildings where you can place these energy panels, and all these things together are giving a better picture, better efficiency within the port energy supply. Smart port logistics, that's our biggest part of the smart port project actually, and that's a lot of challenging things about the smart port logistics in Hamburg, because with all these increasing numbers of transportation, of handling cargo, increasing numbers of containers, increasing numbers, of course, of bulk cargo as well, liquid cargo as well, and especially the big container ships are challenging for transportation as they are bringing much larger volumes on one ship. I mean, for example, on one of these 20,000 TEU ships, we have sometimes close to 10,000 containers to be handled on one ship calling the Port of Hamburg. So that's a very huge amount of containers being handled and have to be pushed into the hinterland, and that's one of the biggest headaches what we are having in Hamburg to connect the port in the best possible way to the hinterland. And we are we're very happy actually that we have this kind of rail connection already from the port of Hamburg into the hinterland areas in Europe, and we are using that very excessively. Yeah, optimizing transportation, of course. We are trying that with more digitalization. We are trying to put all the informations together in order to use the traffic networks and in order to have a long-term reduction of emissions, of course. What we are trying to achieve in Hamburg is a port traffic center where we can gather all the informations from all the transportation means. We already have a lot of IT platforms and a lot of informations, and now the challenge is to put all these things together. We have started piece by piece, and we have already established a port monitor system, which is like a tower on an airport, and which is completely new, being built last year, and we can control the traffic in the port, of course, in our river navigation, which is very important from the 100 kilometers from the open sea to Hamburg. And on top of that, we are able to track all the traffic from Gibraltar and the whole Baltic Sea. This was leading to a very nice company which was established by the terminal operators in the port of Hamburg. They have established a company, and all the competing terminal operators have done that, have established one company. It's called Hamburg Vessel Coordination Center. So the shipping lines are being clients of that Hamburg Vessel Coordination Center, and they are giving their ships into this coordination system. So the coordination center is already taking over and talking to the captain when he comes from Asia and is passing by Gibraltar in Spain. And then the Vessel Coordination Center can coordinate also with all the other ports they are calling and trying to establish the best possible coastal schedule in Europe in order to have the best slots in the relevant ports. We have the big ships, the feeder ships. Feeder ships are very important in Hamburg. We have 160 destinations from Hamburg and the Baltic Sea, so we have a lot of feeder ships in Hamburg being handled. And we have, of course, river barges. And all these has to put together, and therefore we have port monitoring system and the Hamburg Vessel Coordination Center. Of course, being the biggest rail port in Europe, we have already a transport rail system which is coordinating all the rail transportation. We have nearly 400 kilometers of rail tracks in the port. This has to be controlled and being organized. And we are very close together with the national German rail company so that we work very smoothly together. At the end of the day, we want to have this port monitoring system where all these kind of things are being together in one monitoring center. This is being for the future. Oops. We have also very simple, nice little examples which help us to run the port. We have smart switches. These are detectors on the rail track switches, controlling, giving us real-time information about the condition of the switch, so we don't have to have a maintenance program, so we can just react when the switch is telling us he needs some help. We have already port road management in the port where we organize the road traffic. We try to avoid the traffic and the trucks before they reach Hamburg, actually. So we are now installing or building parking lots outside of Hamburg where the trucks can stay and where they are connected to a digital system where they know when to start from that parking lot in order to get the right spot on the terminal. So otherwise they would just congest the whole port and the city. And we have, of course, an app for the truck drivers, basically, but the app is then being for everybody in the future. But we started now with this app as information system for the truck drivers. Yeah, just a small little idea what we are all doing. We're doing a little bit more. I have a few magazines from our digital port magazine here. If somebody's interested, just ask me. Thank you very much.